3, 2.
On this video, courses that create cash, how coaches and consultants can create courses, coaching, and consulting that solves real problems and makes real money. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why coaching works for some people and doesn't for others. It doesn't matter whether you are a seasoned professional coach, consultant, or course creator, or whether you've never created your first course yet. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it takes to create courses, coaching, and consulting that actually changes people's lives with real solutions, not just a bunch of study materials. But before I do that, I want to answer this question. Why are courses and coaching and consulting necessary? Because it exists at a level today that it's never existed at in human history. And like the world, like everybody's a coach. And people say that like they're frustrated, right? Everybody's a coach, everybody's a consultant, everybody's creating a course. Well, that's true, but let me tell you why it's necessary before I tell you what's wrong with it. And the reason why it's necessary is because the world is changing faster now than it's ever changed before. And people need guides to help them navigate the new landscape that once upon a time changed every couple thousand years. Once upon a time changed every couple of centuries. Once upon a time, in our lifetime, it changed every decade or so. But now it changes every couple of weeks. Like the landscape of the world and what works in the world, literally, with the advent of AI, changes every couple of weeks. Like how do you live in a world like this, where now we've got devices that we didn't used to need? We've got cars that drive themselves and drive you crazy. Okay, I don't want a self-driving car. And I know I'm old-fashioned, but the key word in old-fashioned is old. Okay, so let's don't be confused about it. Okay, I don't trust some machine driving me around and it doesn't have my best interest in mind. I'm just saying. Okay, and so why do we need all these coaches? Well, if you think about it, from the beginning of time to about the mid-1700s, the economic infrastructure of the world, I'm going to go over here to this digital blackboard, the economic infrastructure of the world from Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden to mid-1700s, we'll just say 1750, right? The economic infrastructure of the world was based on agriculture. And so it was the agricultural age, and in the agricultural age, land equaled wealth. And the people who own the land own the wealth. And if you were born into a family that owned land, you were born rich. And you stay rich your whole life unless somebody who's more powerful than your king, some kingdom more powerful than your kingdom, came, conquered your land, and took all your land. You would be rich your whole life. If you were born into a family that didn't have land, you'd be poor your whole life. Middle class wasn't a thing. There was no middle class. There was rich, there was poor. There were the lords and the ladies, and there were the peasants. And the lords and the ladies are the people who own the land. That's where we get the term landlord from. Why? Because they would let peasants live on their land, farm their land, produce all the wealth of their land, bring them most of the wealth, keep enough food to stay strong enough to farm the land again next year. That whole concept lasted for thousands of years. But here's the interesting thing about that. Notice what I said, it lasted for thousands of years. And so change happened very, very slowly. If you lived from the time of Adam and Eve until the mid-1700s, it'd be highly unlikely that you'd see 3 world changes in your lifetime. Man, I remember when televisions were black and white. Like I remember when television was black and white. I remember when they introduced television in color, and it wasn't called color. You know what it was called? It was called Technicolor. Some of y'all remember that, right? I remember when they introduced high definition television. And then now that we've got 4K and 8K, you go back and attempt to watch something from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you're like, how did we even watch that? You can't see anything, right? So we see a lot of changes. So I remember when the internet was Prodigy and CompuServe, and it was nothing but billboards. And now the internet's, it's like ubiquitous to our lives. We absolutely have to have it. Well, from the mid-1700s, 1750, to the mid-1900s, about 1950, we went into the industrial age. And in the industrial age, machines equaled wealth, and the people who own the machines own the wealth. And so what created wealth was the ability to build a machine that did something for you. First machines that were ever built were machines that helped people farm the land. Why? Because that was the thing that needed to be done. So this economic era actually created the need for this economic era. And so they did this. What do they need a coach for? You go farm the land or you don't farm the land? What do they need a coach for? You learn how to use this machine. And so what happened in this time, the thing about this was change happened very slowly in the agricultural age, but in the industrial age, machines equaling wealth, the people who own the machines own the wealth, but the people who own the machines also have the control. So if you wanted to do something, if you wanted to do something different than you were doing, you had to get permission from somebody who owned a machine. What do I mean by that? You had to get permission from somebody who owned a machine. You think you could, I'm a writer. Yeah, you think you're a writer? You need to go to a company that publishes books, and they need to believe that you're a writer, or you can't be a writer. You think you're a singer? You think you're a singer? You think you're an artist? Well, you got to go to a record label and you got to sing in front of them, and they've got to believe in your ability to be an artist and sell albums and attract crowds, or you don't get to be an artist. In the industrial age, in order for you to change your station in life, you needed to get permission from somebody who owned a machine. Having a coach, having a vocal coach, when Barry Gordy didn't think you could sing, is not going to do you any good. Taking guitar lessons, if Sony Records didn't think you were a good guitar player, it didn't matter. Somebody had to put their stamp of approval. By the way, it was during the industrial age when the whole idea that you need to get a college degree so you don't have to work on the machines anymore, but you can manage people working on the machines. That's when the whole you got to get a college degree to be successful came into, and it worked during the industrial age. But the industrial age lasted until about the mid 1950s. People say, "Oh, we're in the industrial age." The industrial age is long gone. But the industrial age created the need for something else. So from the mid 1950s. From the 1950s to 1978, we were in the distribution age. In the distribution age, outlets equaled wealth. And why am I telling you this? Because if you're going to create wealth, you have to create wealth in the era in which you live. The biggest problem people have, people think, "Oh, I don't make enough money." Well, the reason, probably the reason you're struggling financially, one of them anyway, is because you are attempting to earn a living in the past. Like a college degree for somebody who's going to be a medical doctor, that's a good thing. A college degree for somebody who's going to be an engineer and build bridges, please, pay attention in math class. I got to drive across that bridge, right? But a college degree for everybody, for the sake of getting a college degree, is a nonsensical idea in 2026. It doesn't make any sense. If a college degree is not going to help you learn how to do the thing that you want to do, a college degree is a waste of time and a waste of money. A college degree for a college degree's sake doesn't make any sense. And most college degrees, most college degrees, by the time you graduate from college, everything that you learned is already obsolete. So, but outlets equal wealth. And so 1978 to about 1994, we went into the technology age. And what's really interesting is in the tech age, tech know-how. Tech know how equaled wealth. And so tech know-how equaled wealth, and if you knew how to create some kind of technology, you would be rich. And I remember specifically myself, my brother Derek became a software engineer. I remember between 1978 and 1994, we started seeing these tech geniuses, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, Michael Dell, all these people on the cover of Time magazine. And so everybody in the early 1980s wanted to go to school for computer programming. Man, if I could just learn how to program computers. Not realizing that they got there too late. Bill Gates didn't start programming computers between 1978 and 1994. Bill Gates started programming computers in 1968. See, if you're late to the party, all the good stuff is gone. How many of y'all picking up what I'm putting down? And so what happened in 1994? 1994, this was so crazy and amazing. 1994 to about 2003, we went into the information age. And the information age was a very unique age. It changed how the world worked because for the first time in history, you didn't have to own something to create wealth. So how did you create wealth? You controlled the flow of information. Why? Because you can't own information. Who owns the fact that the sky is blue? Nobody. So you were the person who gathered the data, and then you were the person who distributed the data, like Yahoo, like InfoSeek, like Dogpile, and Ask Jeeves, and Google. I named the ones before Google first, because Google figured out a way to do it better, and basically wiped all those other guys off the map. But that's another conversation for a different day. Okay, so then what happened? 2003, this is when 2003 to 2008, we went into what I call the techno-info edutainment age. What is that? People who know how to use technology to create information to educate people in an entertaining way. Those are the people who own the wealth. During the techno-info edutainment age, you have people like Russell Simmons who created a new genre of music because he knew how to edit music on a Mac computer and became a billionaire. You have people like Jeff Foxworthy who created You Might Be a Redneck If cassette tapes. And he knew where his ideal avatar could be found. And so what did he do? He sold those cassette tapes at truck stops. And those cassette tapes with jokes like You Might Be a Redneck If made him so rich that he was one of the sharks on Shark Tank for a season. Why? Techno-info edutainment age. The techno-info edutainment age was so powerful that there was a guy who was homeless, who was sleeping in his car, and he was selling VHS tapes out of the trunk of his car of plays that he produced. And today he's a billionaire. His name's Tyler Perry. The techno-info edutainment age is when I started my training company to teach people how to sell. I thought I got rich really, really fast because I was so great. Well, I was okay. But I started a business that matched the economic era that I was living in. Are y'all tracking? What happened in 2008? 2008 to 2021. We were in, by the way, all these economic eras lasted for a longer period of time than the previous economic era. This economic era right here lasted for a longer period of time than its previous era, and it was the first time that's ever happened in history. What era was that? We went into the partnership age, where multi-billion-dollar corporations said, if you will create content for my platform, Apple said, if you'll create apps for my app store. Amazon said, if you'll create ebooks for my bookstore. They said, if you'll create offers for my platform, I will sell it to my clients and give you most of the money. It changed the game because they were willing to pay out 70% to creators who created products for their shelves. Well, what happened in 2021? We went 2021 to, I don't know when this is going to end, because it's wild, it's the Wild West right now, to, I don't know, we are in the AI age. And it's all changing so fast that nobody knows. Like okay, as soon as you learn how to use this one, oh no, this one's better. And then you got another, and then this one's better. And then oh no, you don't need AI, you need an AI agent. Oh, you don't need an AI agent, you need AI agent makers, like you need OpenClaw. Oh, OpenClaw, there's the OpenClaw killer now. You got Perplexity Computer, and there's like, I can't keep up, right? And then if you're talking about health, one day it's like, oh, coffee's terrible for you. The next day, oh no, coffee's great for you. It's got antioxidants. Oh, chocolate's terrible for you. Oh no, chocolate's great. And so everybody's confused because there's so much conflicting information out there. This is why coaches are necessary. And this is also why you could be one of them. Because there's something you know how to do. If you're an adult and your life is working to some degree. Notice I said to some degree. Then you know how to do something. You could teach people how to do something you know how to do. If there are a group of people who are looking to learn how to do the thing you know how to do, you could be a coach. But this is why coaching is necessary. Okay, why courses and coaching don't work? Because all courses don't solve people's problems, and all coaching doesn't help people. Why? I'm gonna give you 3 reasons. I'm not gonna write them on the board because I want to get to the point of how to create coaching and courses and consulting that actually changes people's lives. But I want to tell you why they don't, because all of them don't. And all of us probably have bought a course or paid somebody to coach us. Some people call it a course. They'll create a course on X, Y, and Z, and when you pay for the course, it's a bunch of PDFs. That's not a course. That's a document. Okay. So, why courses and coaches don't work? Number one reason. Well, it may be the number 3 reason, but I'm going to give you 3 reasons. Number 1, because a lot of courses in coaching and consulting are guesswork at best. What do I mean they're guesswork at best? I mean, I don't know what that noise is that I can hear somebody talking out there, but if you can go talk to them, thank you. So, why courses and coaching don't work is because people succeed and they think they know why, but the reason they think they're succeeding is not why they're succeeding. And by the way, just because you can do something and you do it well doesn't mean you know why you do it well. And you may assign a reason to why it's working that it's not really the reason, and so you're guessing. Like, now, if you can put that result on rinse and repeat for somebody other than you, and people who have different skill sets and different personalities, and it works for men and it works for women and it works for older people and it works for younger people. Like if you don't have a big enough sample size, if you're the only person who's done it and you think that you know why it's working, you're probably just guessing. And guess what? Sometimes you might guess right. Sometimes you might guess wrong. Let me ask you this. Would you want a dentist who taught himself dentistry because he took out his own tooth working on your mouth? No. And all I'm doing is showing you, just all coaching doesn't work, but sometimes it's just because people think they know why and they don't know why. It's not like they're trying to scam you. They just don't know. Number 2 reason. There are people out there who call themselves coaches and course creators, and they actually are scammers. They only created a course or a coaching program so they could make money, and they don't care if it works for you or not. There are people out there like that. It's hard to imagine. Like if you're a decent human being and you walk with any level of integrity, it's kind of hard for you to believe that somebody would actually create something, call it a course, call it a coaching program, call it a consulting program, just so they can make money and they don't care if you get results or not. But there are a lot of people out there like that. Lots. Lots and lots and lots. Okay. So you have to do your due diligence. And the best way to do due diligence on coaching and consulting is get a list of people they've helped. And if you and those people let you talk to them, that's great. But if not, if somebody coaches people, for instance, if somebody coaches people on how to be fit, say, just give me the Instagram profile of 10 of your clients, just so I can go look at them and see if what you did worked for them. Give me the Instagram, they teach you how to build a business, give me the Instagram profile of 10 of your clients. Let me go see how they're doing. You see what I'm saying? So, I teach social media. Well, I'm going to look at your social media, and then I want to see the social media of people you've helped, because your social media might be working for a different reason than the stuff you're going to tell me in your course. Is what I'm saying making some sense? Yes. Okay, cool. And so, and the last reason, because a lot of courses and coaching programs are overwhelming because they've not been distilled. What do I mean by that? People who are new especially, but even people who've been around for a while, they think that a coaching program is more valuable if it has more stuff in it. More stuff doesn't make it more valuable. More is not better, faster is better. What does that mean? That means if I'm telling you I'm going to get you a result, and it doesn't matter whether I'm teaching you how to cook, or if I'm teaching you how to organize, or if I'm teaching you how to get over anxiety, or I'm teaching you how to make money, or I'm teaching you how to get fit. If I have a coaching program and I'm teaching you, me giving you more information does not make it more valuable to you. Me getting you to the result faster makes it more valuable to you. Because the sooner you get to the payoff, the sooner you get to the result, the longer you get to enjoy it. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes? So, they make them overwhelming. Some people make their courses overwhelming because they're not sure what works, so they just throw everything in the pot. Some people make them overwhelming so that you will become overwhelmed. This is what the scammers do. They make the course overwhelming so you will become overwhelmed because they have all of this disjointed and disconnected information so that you give up on the journey, and then you think that you're the problem, but they're the one who created the process that was not easy to follow, or that was not even followable. So that's real. Okay, now, so let me talk about if you're going to become a coach, a course creator, a consultant, and you want to make money, but you want people to get results. If you want to make money, people have to be willing to buy it. If they're going to buy it, they're only going to buy it for one reason, and that's because they value it. And they're going to value it when it has something in it that's valuable to them. Here's your problem. You're new. Maybe you're not new. Maybe you've been doing this for a while. And you create stuff that's valuable to you. And then try to get people to buy it. Try to talk people into buying it. Do you realize if somebody already desires an outcome, you don't have to talk them into buying the solution to get them that outcome. They already want it. It's amazing. One of the reasons selling for me feels so natural is because, like, if I'm selling something to you and you can't see clearly that it solves your problem, I think you're smart enough to know that and not to buy. And now you don't waste your money or my time. Everybody's happy. Right? And if I sell you something and it can get you a result, or I present something to you and it can get you a result, then you're smart enough to know that, and then you want to buy, and I don't have to stand there and pressure you for 3 hours. All I have to do is move out of your way and let you know how much it costs. It's so simple. It's simple, but it's not easy. Why? Because most people who create coaching and courses and consulting, they want people to buy them. They don't just want people to buy them, they want the person they're talking to now to buy. And I don't remember who, but somebody asked me at this event in California, like, how many sales are you hoping to close? I'm not hoping to close any. And I know that sounds weird. What do you mean you're not hoping to close any? I'm not hoping to close any. I'm trusting that the people who are smart enough to tell that this offer is for them will buy. I trust that that's going to be the case. And the people who are smart enough to realize that this offer is not for them, they're not going to buy. So I'm not hoping anybody buys. I'm totally disconnected from it because I know if there are people in the room who need the outcome that I am showing them how to get, they will say yes if they can. And that's enough. And I'm okay with that. That removes pressure. They don't feel pressure, and I don't feel like I have to apply pressure, because if I feel like I have to apply pressure, to me that feels yucky. And if they feel like I'm applying pressure to them that's going to feel yucky. Does that make sense? Okay. So, if people only buy what they value, how do I know what they value? I've just met them. I don't know what you value. Well, there are some things all humans value, right? All people want to be as healthy as they can. Most people want to have as good, like people who are not sociopaths or psychopaths, they want to have good relationships with people. So sociopaths and psychopaths don't care. They just care about getting what they want, right? And then many people want to be wealthier than they are. Not everybody. Some people believe that poverty is piety and wealth is wickedness. So I already know those aren't my clients, and I'm okay with that, right? But the people who want to do better financially, those are potential clients for me. So how do I know what to talk to them about? Okay, well, I have to understand what they value. And in order for me to understand what they value, I have to understand where value comes from. So where does value come from, Myron? Value comes from 3 places. 1, perceived voids. And I used to say past perceived voids, but it might be a present perceived void. Like a void. Now, the longer this void has been in your life, the longer you've desired this thing and not had it, the more powerful that desire is, which means you value it more. It's why I looked at I got my 68 GTO back, and it's all restored, and it's so beautiful. It looks brand new, but brand new was only $3,300. But I bought it 2 years ago, and it needed to be restored. And I paid $40,000 for this car that was brand new, $3,300. Why would I do that? Because when I was 17 years old, my friend Stan, his brother Lonnie, had a 68 GTO, and it was so cool. It was like the coolest car of all the friends I had, and I wanted to buy it from Lonnie, and Lonnie wouldn't sell it to me. Lonnie, I hope you watch this, bro. You cost me $40,000. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Okay, but why would I? Because I've wanted that car since I was 17 years old. So when I found one, and it was at a price that made sense to me, I'm like, I'm getting that. Is what I'm saying. Why? Because it was a perceived void. Now, do I need a 68 Pontiac GTO that when you drive it down the road, it's like, right, you're bouncing all over the place? No, I don't need that. But I wanted it.
That's right.
Right? Okay, so perceived voids. Okay, number 2, perceived virtues. Things that I perceive as being virtuous, I value. So if I'm going to fill a void in my life, if the person you're selling to the thing you're selling them is going to fill a void, or it's going to fulfill some kind of virtue, some level of virtue, it's going to give them something that they perceive as good, they will say yes to your offer if they can. How cool is that? That's everybody says, well, you got to put value in your offer, but nobody ever tells you what value is. Nobody ever tells you how to evaluate what's value. Well, the last one is pursued visions. What's a pursued vision? It's something that I can see is possible for me, it's desirable for me, and your offer makes it probable for me. That's a perceived virtue. A pursued vision. So I've been working towards this thing, and now all of a sudden I see a way to get to this thing. Oh, I'm all in. So does all of that make sense? Okay, cool. Because now that's what you talk to them about when you're selling your coaching and your consulting. In order for it to actually be valuable, it has to fill the void. It has to fulfill the virtues. It has to take them to or finish at the pursued vision. It has to finish there. And so in order for all of that to happen, then they need the thing they're going to need that you're going to have to provide for them is a transformation. Most people, when they sell their coaching, they're selling, or their consulting, or their course, they're selling the trinkets. What do I mean the trinkets? Oh, it's got this many workbooks, it's got this many audios, or I've got a workout app and it's got all these workouts. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I don't want your workouts. I don't want your modules. I don't want your videos, and I don't want your workbooks. I want the transformation. And I'm only willing to suffer through your videos, or your audios, or your workbooks, or your app, or your workouts, if it's going to give me the transformations that I'm looking for. If it's not going to give me the transformation, I don't care about any of that stuff. So stop selling the trinkets. Stop talking to people about the trinkets it has, and start talking to them about the transformation they get.
That's right.
And in order for you to get them a transformation, it helps if you've had a transformation.
That's right.
But even if you haven't had the transformation, because if, let's say, I'm going to go to the dentist. We already talked about a dentist. I don't want to go to a dentist I'm only going to go to a dentist who's had cavities. So they may not have had the transformation, but at least they know how to get me mine.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it doesn't matter. This is the part this is the step-by-step. Y'all ready for the step-by-step? Say I'm ready.
Ready.
Okay. It doesn't matter if the transformation is a health transformation, a wealth transformation, or a relationship transformation. It doesn't matter. There are 6 phases to transformation. If you put all 6 of these phases in every course you create, every coaching program, and every consulting offer that you have, you will have clients that have success. When I think about the people, there are people who have never had success before, that have followed my advice, and it's changed their life. I teach people how to make money. I teach them how to do well financially. I teach financial literacy. I teach them how to build businesses. And I was just telling folks in a recording that I did right before we went live, I met a guy from Trinidad this past weekend in California, and he told me how he made $3,000 in 2024, and he came to my Make More Offers Challenge, and last year he made $220,000.
Wow.
That's a transformation. And I had never, he was on my challenge once, and I remembered him from the challenge, but I didn't know that he went out and changed his life to that degree. I met a lady at a conference one time I was having. She said, Myron, just from your YouTube videos, my life has changed. I used to make $3,000 a month. Now I make $50,000 a month, and all I do is the stuff you talk about on your YouTube videos. Like, never paid me a dime. I'm okay with that. At least you got a transformation and a story. But then you got people who you would know. People like Dan Henry, who's a friend of mine, but also a client of mine. Dan was already rich when he met me. But he never had $1 million day until he came through one of my coaching programs. You got people, and all the $1 million day award winners that we've gotten, people who've done $1 million in sales in a single day. Richmond Din, who's here in the audience, he's gotten several now, had several $1 million days. We've had clients like Marvin Mitchell and Nehemiah Davis and Wall Street Trapper and David Chance and all of these influencers that you know, and Dan Locke, all these influencers, a lot of these influencers that you would know, who've increased their revenue exponentially by applying the transformational mechanisms and the transformational processes that we've taught them. How can you have that many people having success? Easy, because there are 4 phases of transformation, and we take our clients through all 6 phases of transformation. We take our clients through all 6 phases. Are you all ready for the 6 phases? Let me hear you say yes. Yes. Okay. The first one is awareness. All transformation begins with awareness. You become aware of a possibility that is desirable that you previously thought was impossible. So you become aware of the transformation. Like, you become, oh, this is a possibility for me? Oh, okay, let's go, right? And you become aware of who can help you get that transformation. Who can help you get that? Once you become aware of the transformation, you're like, okay, your antenna go up. Right? You're like, okay, who can help me get the transformation? Who can help me get the transformation? Who can help me get the transformation? There they are. And then you get locked in. And one of the things that we all look for, whether we're willing to admit it or not, we look for people other than the person selling the transformation who are telling a story about how the person who is selling the transformation transformed their lives. We all want that. Right? I want to know how it worked for somebody else. You know why we want to know how it worked for other people? Because we think we're smarter than them. Well, they did it. I know it's going to work for me, right? I mean, that's what we believe. It's human nature. It doesn't. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just human nature. So you become aware, but awareness by itself is not enough, because you can become aware and then decide you're not willing to pay the price. So the next thing you do after awareness is intention. You set an intention. You set an intention that I am going to produce this result in my life. This result is going to happen for me. That's what you decide. That's what I decide. Oh, I'm going to have this. I remember when I met Doug Grant, Doug and Hillary. I met them at an event we were at, and they're my age. Well, Doug's my age. Hillary's a little younger. So Doug's my age, and this dude, he's walking around looking like he just stepped off a superhero poster. What? And he's like, so what do you do? Well, I'm a health coach, and I have a supplement manufacturing company. I create workouts, and I help people help people get stronger and be stronger longer. How much is it? $50,000 a year. Sign me up. Like, don't sign me up later. Sign me up right. Don't sign me up now. Sign me up right now. Right? And I signed up for Doug's program. And guess what? I am in almost the best shape of my life, and I'm 64 years of age. I'll be 65 in a month and a half. Or 2 months. Let me see. April. 2 months. Just under 2 months. I'll be 65. Stronger now than I was when I was 40 and fat Myron. Okay. So awareness, but now you have to set an intention. Now you have to intend to have the transformation regardless. I intend to have this transformation regardless. Cool. But guess what? Now don't miss this part. This is 2B. I mean 2A. This is not 3. This is 2A. Because there's 6 phases. But you have to remember 2A, because if you don't remember 2A, you're going to get thrown out. You're going to get derailed. So what's 2A? Disruption always follows intention. What does that mean? That means that when you decide to do something new that's going to make your life better, the first thing that shows up is not a payoff. The first thing that shows up is pain. The first thing that shows up is difficulty. The first thing that shows up is struggle. It doesn't matter. I remember when I first started working out. And I decided I was going to get on my assault bike. I'm going to ride for 15 minutes. I was 45 seconds in, and everything in my mind was saying, you fool, what made you think you could ride this assault bike for 15 minutes? I said, I'm going to do 30 push-ups. 30 push-ups? Bruh, you haven't done 30 push-ups in over a decade. What are we talking about? Right? And so I didn't feel stronger first. I felt weaker first. I didn't feel more hopeful first. I felt more hopeless first. I didn't feel better first. I felt worse first. What is that called? Disruption always follows intention. And it doesn't matter what the arena is. Disruption always follows intention. And if you're unable to last through the disruption that follows your intention, you will never have the transformation. How many of y'all tracking? Say I'm tracking. Tracking. Okay. So, intention. Then you have to do this thing that very few people that you will ever meet are good at. You have to make a decision. Now, people are great at making choices, but a choice and a decision aren't the same thing. Choose means pick one. But if I pick one, I can put it back. Right? So choose means pick one. But decide comes from the Latin root de, which means of or from. Side, which means to cut. Like suicide, you cut off sue. Who's sue? Your life. Sue. You cut off your life, right? And so we have an incision. What's an incision? It cuts inside of you. When you decide, you cut off of you or cut off from you. Y'all tracking? So when you make a decision, you cut yourself off from any other possibility other than what you set your intention on. You know, it's really interesting that the word decision means to cut off. Guess what other word means to cut? The word covenant means to cut. And a covenant is an agreement between two or more individuals based on mutual love and trust, and it's a promise that you make on your life. If I don't keep my word, may what happened to these mutilated animals happen to me. That's what a covenant is. And many of y'all have seen me illustrate that before. I'm not going to illustrate this morning, but I'm telling you, that's what a covenant is. So when you decide something, here's what that literally means. If this is not what you mean when you say, I've decided to do this, you're only kidding yourself and you haven't decided, you've just chosen. Here's what decide means. I am going to do this thing or die in the doing of it. Because I would rather die keeping my word to myself than live and break it. One of the main reasons you don't have confidence in your life is because you've broken your word to yourself so many times in the past, you can't believe a word you say. So you have to make a real decision. You have to decide, this is what my life is going to be about. Nothing will stand in my way. You are going to find me. This is me, right here, right now, on the first day of my transformation. This is the mountain of my transformation. That's not Mount Transfiguration, that's Mount Transformation, okay? Sorry. Okay, this is you are going to find me. Thanks for laughing at my preacher jokes. Okay, so you're going to find me at the top, victorious, or you're going to find me dead along the side. But here's where you're not going to find me. I'm not going back down.
That's right.
That's a decision. How many of y'all tracking? That's a decision. And there is no transformation apart from decision. There's no transformation apart from awareness. There's no transformation apart from intention. And what you've got to do is you've got to make people aware, tell them what intention to set, let them know disruption is going to follow their intention. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. But why do you need it to be easy? What you're doing now is not easy. So what's the difference? Anyway, so decision. What comes after decision? Well, what comes after decision is discipline. That's number 4. Discipline. Discipline means I do what I'm supposed to do, the way I'm supposed to do it, when I'm supposed to do it. Don't miss this part. And I do it that way every time I do it. Discipline means I don't let myself off the hook from the daily disciplines. So I'm disciplined. So I'm going to make sure I consistently do the thing, not just intensely do the thing. And even if the thing is intense, I'm going to intensely do the thing consistently. How many of y'all tracking? Say I'm tracking. Okay, so discipline, and then we start getting into the fun stuff. And this is what we want to do recognition. And recognition is, I'm going to take time and and I'm going to notice how far I've come. I'm going to just take note of the fact that I'm not where I want to be, but I sure ain't where I used to be, baby. Huh? I ain't where I used to be. I'm on my way. And see, we take time to appreciate how far we've come, and we don't hustle and grind ourselves into the ground because we're competing with somebody else. I have no competition. Neither do you. If you think you have competition, you're delusional. You say, well, other people, Myron, you're competition. In business, I don't even have any competition. So, well, yeah, you do. You have other people who teach similar things to the thing you do. Okay, that's fine. They teach it in their lane, I teach it in my lane. They teach it their way, I teach it my way. I don't see them as competition, period. I don't care who they are.
That's right.
And if somebody looks at me and says, Myron, I'm thinking about buying your coaching program, or I'm thinking about buying so-and-so's. Which one should I buy? How do I know which one to buy? It's easy. Buy theirs. I don't have any competition. I'm happy to send you to somebody else who can get you a better transformation, who you believe might get you a better transformation than me. Because if you're confused whether it's me or somebody else, I'm happy to send you to them until you figure it out. And if they helped you, hallelujah, I celebrate you. And either they're going to help you or you'll be back. I'm okay either way. I'm not in a hurry, and I don't need the money. So I can just be who I am and not worry about it. Okay, so recognition, and then lastly, this is the last phase of transformation. It's number 6. I don't know what was that? Okay, number 6 is celebration. You celebrate. By the way, people ask, how can you get your family involved? How can I get my family to support me? Easy. You tell them, this is what I'm going to do, and then you set celebrations along the path. When we reach this milestone, we're going to do this to celebrate. When we reach the next milestone, we're going to do this. And then when we reach this milestone, we're going to do this. And even let them pick what the this is. I am telling you that if you will take people through these 6 phases, like that's why we give away $1 million day award to people who've earned $1 million in a day. That's why we have a $5 million day award and a $10 million day award and a $100,000 day award. We have those awards so we can celebrate the people that we're coaching who get those levels of transformation. And so whether or not you know it, like if you become aware of a possibility, one of the things that you need is you need a coach who believes that that possibility is probable for you if you will follow the steps. Because you're going to have a hard time believing in a transformation that's a complete 180 of the experience you've had your whole life. And the older you are, the harder it is for you to believe it. So you need a coach, a consultant, who believes, or a course creator who believes in your ability to get the transformation so that you can borrow their belief to build your belief. And then and only then will you have your breakthrough to the transformation you've been looking for. And this is how to make a coaching program work, a course work, a consulting program work, whether you're a seasoned professional or whether you've not even created your first course or your first coaching program or your first consulting program. I hope this helps you, and y'all stay blessed by the best. In the meantime, in between time, we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.